Welcome. In this video, we are going to be determining the condition of proportionality from a graph. So we have a question over here that requires us to, one, plot the graph, and secondly, interpret the graph and establish how can we tell if two quantities or two variables are directly proportional to each other given different values of the variables. So the table below shows the relationship between the number x of books bought and the total cost y of the books. So we need to plot the corresponding x and y values. We are given scales, but many times scales are not given to you, so you need to be able to determine your own scale. One thing you need to remember about the scales is that the intervals have to be the same. That's one of the most common errors, where someone moves from 1, 2, then goes to 4, 5. The intervals have to be the same. And we plot these graphs on graph paper so that they are accurate. Okay, so this is what we have. We are going to plot the graph. So when x, which is basically number of books, is 1, y is 5. When x is 2, y is 10. When x is 3, y is 15. When x is 4, y is 20. When x is 5, y is 25. And when x is 6, y is 30. So from this we can see our points, and we are expected to draw a line joining them. So when drawing a line, please use a ruler. I do not have a ruler in here yet, but I'm going to try and be as accurate as possible. So that is our graph that shows how x varies with y. So our second question: what can you say about the points you have plotted? One of the things we are going to notice is that these points are on a straight line. Okay? They are on a straight line. That's why we are able to join them together using a ruler. Then our question number 4, write down an equation connecting x and y. Now with this we are going to use our conclusion from the previous video about the condition for direct proportionality from a table. And using this same question, we discovered that y over x was equal to 5. Okay, you can also see it from your graph. When x is 1, y is 5. When x is 2, y is 10. You can see that the connection is times 5 for all of them. So when you look at this, that y over x is 5, we can write it as a linear equation. Basically remove the fraction. That's by cross multiplying, we shall get that y equals to 5x. Now this is an equation of a straight line, and it is the equation that's connecting y and x. Y is 5x. So when we go to question 5, how would you find the value of y when x is 8? Now you will notice that for this question they've asked for a value that's not on the graph. Okay, so we will not be using the graph. we will use our equation. So find the value of y when x is 8. Basically substitute x as 8. Where there is x, put there 8. So our y would be 5 times 8, which is 40. Now y was the cost, and that's money in dollars. So we'll add there the dollar unit. Okay? So when they ask for a value which is not on your graph, you have to use the equation. But if the value was on your graph, for example, find the value of y when x is 2.5. You will go and look for 2.5 and draw lines to the graph and lines away. Okay, that is if it's on the graph, but this one was off the graph. Okay, question 6, does the graph of the equation 4 pass through the origin? Does it pass through the origin? And our answer is yes. How do you know, or why? Why do you say it passes through the origin? One, if you completed this graph backwards, it will go through the origin. But also, secondly, the lines which are in the form of y is kx, they go through the origin. Now, this brings me to the condition for direct proportionality from the graph. Number one, your graph has to go through the origin. If it does so, that means that x is directly proportional to y. And secondly, it's going to be x and y will be related by the equation y equals to kx. So if you determine the equation of your graph and it's y equals to kx, it means that x and y are directly proportional to each other. Okay, so once again, the conditions are your graph has to go through the origin, and secondly, your equation of that graph or of that line has to be in the form of y equals to kx, where your k is the constant that we previously talked about.